Module 1, Hypertension, the 5-step mental algorithm. Hi everyone, and welcome to Module 1. Before we talk about medication titration or secondary hypertension causes, we need to do something more important. We need to build a mental framework because hypertension management is really not that hard, but it can get confusing when you don't have a clear structure. By the end of this module, you will have a 5-step mental algorithm that you can run in your clinic in under 60 seconds. Let's start with step 0. Know what you're looking at. Let's start with blood pressure categories. Normal is considered under 120/80. Elevated 120 to 129 systolic and under 80 diastolic. Stage 1 hypertension 130 to 139 systolic or 80 to 89 diastolic. Stage 2 140 or higher systolic or 90 and higher diastolic. Severe 180 systolic or 120 diastolic. Here's your first clinical pearl. Stage 2 hypertension is where delay starts to really matter. Many new clinicians hesitate here, but 150s and 160s is not borderline. They're sustained vascular injury. Now let's build your framework. The 5-step hypertension algorithm you can apply to every single patient. Step 1, confirm the diagnosis. Not every elevated BP equals hypertension. Ask yourself and your patient, is this repeated? Is this consistent? Is there prior documentation? Is there reported history of hypertension that was diagnosed before? You don't need months of elevated readings if the pattern is clear and obvious. We'll go deeper into diagnosis mechanics in the next module, but for now, just remember, your first job is clarity, but not speed. Step 2, rule out emergency. Before you label it primary hypertension, ask this. Is this an emergency? Look for chest pains, shortness of breath, neurological deficits, including vision changes or severe headaches. If blood pressure is over 180/120, pause, take a second, reassess symptoms. Hypertensive urgency and emergency are totally different conversations. Most patients in an outpatient clinic are not emergencies, but you must consciously rule that out. That habit protects you and your license. Now, step 3, primary or secondary hypertension. Most hypertension is primary, but your decision tree highlights the important red flags. You should think secondary hypertension when you see the following patterns. Number 1, low potassium without a reason. Early aged onset of hypertension, resistant hypertension despite treatment, or acute rise in previously stable blood pressure. If someone's BP used to be 130s for years and now suddenly it's 180, maybe that's not just non-compliance. That's a red flag. This is where clinical curiosity matters. You don't screen everyone for pheochromocytoma, but you don't ignore hypokalemia either. Step 4, stratify severity. This is where treatment strategy changes. Ask yourself, is the systolic blood pressure more than 20 millimeters of mercury above the goal? If yes, you should strongly consider combination therapy. If it's less than 20 millimeters of mercury above goal, monotherapy may still be appropriate. Many new NPs undertreat stage 2 hypertension. If someone's blood pressure is 168/96 and you start with a teeny tiny dose of medication, you may set yourself up for failure. Severity determines intensity of treatment. Step 5, special populations. Before you prescribe anything, pause. Ask, is this a woman of reproductive age with pregnancy potential? Is this a patient with CKD with eGFR under 40? Is this a patient with an elevated potassium? Is this someone with PCOS and hirsutism and or other disease processes? These details can change your drug selection. As an example, if there's pregnancy potential, you avoid ACE inhibitors and ARBs. If a patient has CKD with hyperkalemia, then obviously also avoid ACEs and ARBs. If patient has PCOS, spironolactone may provide dual benefit. Hypertension management is not only about lowering numbers, it's about lowering risk safely. Putting it all together, let's run it quickly. Patient walks in, blood pressure is 162/94. You think, number one, confirm pattern. Number two, rule out emergency. Three, any secondary red flags. Four, is the blood pressure higher than 20 millimeters above goal? Yes, then likely combination therapy. 5, special population considerations, if any. That entire thought process can take under 60 seconds. And once you practice it, it really can become automatic for you. Clinical reflection. At the end of the clinic day, I want you to do one thing. Identify one patient with elevated blood pressure. Run them through this 5-step algorithm. Notice where you hesitated. That hesitation is exactly where your growth is. In the next module, we're going to zoom in on something extremely practical. How many readings are enough? How far apart should they be to make a diagnosis? When can you diagnose today versus when should you wait? Because confidence in diagnosis is what makes rest of this algorithm work. I'll see you in module 2.